A lot of sleep. How many people were on?
Well, 17 now.
Oh, cool. Called it. Looking, listening. I really think people are scared of calling. Why is that?
Well, if you're going to talk about,
If you were going to talk about just anything other than what you're talking about.
man, the phone will be ringing. You're talking about, like women will talk about sex and relationships, the phone was ringing. But
People are afraid to voice their real inner thoughts.
But they're listening, so which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, at
They're
some
planting
point,
seeds.
planting seeds, yeah. At some point, they will start giving their 2 cents in.
Ready?
Yes. All right, welcome back. This is Soulful Afro with Miss Yvette, and we're celebrating Black History Month.
You coming back?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, you gotta leave this topic now.
So we're talking about Black History Month, and one of the things that last month when we ended and thinking about this month, Hassan made a statement of, I was born to be Black. And I feel that way too, but not just Black in skin, but Black in thought, Black in movement, Black in consciousness, Black in love. Everything about that Blackness, that root, that beginning, that middle, that end, or that seeking that end, I was born to be, because I don't think I am the person that I am. I sit in this chair once a month. I founded this organization. I write about this issue because I think I was born. I was given this role for a reason. So what does it mean for you, Hassan?
Well, when I made that statement, there's a couple of things that all come together. Number one, I won't change being Black. Now, I say this because if we go into the physical part and the soulful part, I just love the way we express ourselves, from our handshakes to our hugs. Just I can just hear music and just flow with it without even
a Black man walking across the room, boy.
Yes.
Obama. President Obama gets in and walks across the room. I'm like, yeah, he blessed.
It's just a flavor, of it.
And there are so many flavors.
And being able, then the other part is with society, being able to deal with the BS. I say this because my experience, going to a white school is when things become too much, they sometimes break in a sense. For some reason, maybe based on our history, we still can continue to take it. We can overcome it. We can continue to go through that.
We find the goodness in every day.
Yes.
We have to.
And this is saying you have to. Like me going to work and dealing with those things that I deal with, if I wasn't who I am as a Black man, I'll probably have some issues. I'll probably get upset, maybe go to a gun store, and start doing things I should be doing. But I take that pride. You know what, Black man, I can take this. I'm built for it. I'm built for war, positive or negative. I'm ready, and that's what I meant by that. And the other thing is that I like is the fact that my beautiful Black woman, there's nothing like her.
All right now.
I mean, the sexiness, the intelligence, maybe a little bit of attitude, that challenge me, maybe, like things like that, but that I may not get from, somebody else. But just the flavor, even if you're Latina, If you're African American, but just the whole aspect of it, just being in that circle is what makes me feel that way. You know.
What about you, Rhoda?
Black History Month. Well,
or born to be black.
Or born to be black. Yeah. Oh, I just love my black. Sometimes I wish I was darker. But many times I wish I was darker because my mother was very dark. And I envy her darkness. I just think it's the greatest thing. So I am very proud of being a strong black woman. Sometimes in the past, people have made me feel like I shouldn't be this strong. Okay. But you have to.
They take the strength as arrogant.
Yeah, and it's nothing arrogant about it. It's just strength. Right. Because many times, as a black person, you have to go deep inside of you to bring out that strength and know that it's okay. Whatever may happen out there, it happened out there. Whatever ramification they're trying to bring to you, I said, be like a duck. Just let it slide. You know, let it flow because you cannot get angry at everything. Look how far our people has come.
I had gotten into a conversation a few months back with a childhood classmate who was upset that I feel like we need to uplift each other every day. Because when you turn on the TV, you
don't see no breaking and
So to me, it's like I'm black every day, black love, black heart, black. Yes. I want the men in my life to know that I see them as kings. I want the women to know that I see them as queens.
Yes.
And it goes beyond February 28th.
Oh yeah, it goes beyond this. This is just a part of it. Just a little iota.
But should we be the only ones to know Black history?
No. No. Oh no. Let me tell you. Some of the things that I hear Americans are surprised about, white Americans. When I used to do training, they come up with things. And I always used to say to them, do you know the other side of America? How come I come from a different country and I came here, I learned Black history, specifically European history and world history. That's what they taught us. Yes. How come you don't find it, you are surprised about things? You don't know. I said, when we talk about Americans, it's black and white. In my country, when we say Americano, or between us when we say Americano, it's black and white. Because you all are North Americans. Let me preface that. So, how come the African American experience is only highlighted in February? When it should be, in my opinion, in all the libraries. It should be taught in all the schools, not only in February.
Yeah, the books aren't telling the story.
The books are not telling the story.
The books don't tell the story, so it's up to us to do the education outside. So, next challenging question. So, one of the things that we reported that I got some reports about from the work that I do in the community is that we have bleaching cream issues on the continent. Specifically, Senegal recently had this big old poster board about lightening our skin. We have issues in Latin America where you have the conflict between Dominican and Haitians, which they're making it out to be a migration issue, but we all know that it's a racial issue because of how Dominicans, sadly, the larger number see themselves as white, or if they see themselves as black, they associate that blackness with being Haitian, and then it allows them, there's this deeply rooted rejection of their blackness. And it may not just be blackness out of color, it's also blackness, it's blackness of color and blackness of history, because you will stand before the darkest skinned Latino or the darkest skinned Dominican, and they will tell you, no, I'm not black, I'm Dominican, no, I'm not black, I'm Puerto Rican, no, I'm not black, I'm Panamanian. Because we have fallen for Latino-ness being our racial identity,
Yes, when it's not.
with not understanding that there's an ethnic identity and there's a racial identity. So what do you think is happening in the continent when it comes to that?
It's been happening for a very, very long time. And it just goes back, like we said, individuals thinking that, the lighter you are, the more opportunities there is. And because they own, or they perceive that they own the world, that's why people want to be that way, But it's all about education. And I think if we have, books, documentaries, whatever it is, to show, because what our people see back home is what we see it.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's all they see. So if we see it here in America,
and we're having trouble.
If we're in trouble, of course they're gonna see it there. And oh wow, maybe if I'm a little dark, a little lighter, maybe I'll get a better opportunity, which doesn't make any sense. But one thing that while you guys were talking, I was just thinking about is this: we celebrate African History Month, right? Guess what? We're the only one that have a culture to celebrate.
Yes.
I think it's because there's European history.
That's right.
The other side is European, right? Do they have?
Or indigenous too.
Right.
They don't have a month.
Do they have? But because it's American, they're Americans. And they feel that I'm American, so I don't. It doesn't make any sense because you ran from your country
to come here.
No.
But that's not ever said.
But I think it speaks to privilege.
Yes,
exactly. There's a level of privilege and entitlement that I think speaks to that.
Yeah.
You have kids that don't feel that they need to know Black history because outside of school they may not need it.
Yes.
And there are schools that don't do any Black history because they don't want it to stand out above all other cultures. So there's schools that don't even do anything.
But what they lack is to recognize, and I know they know this, that other cultures didn't suffer the atrocity and the murder and the violence that the African American African American population suffered.
But and then let's take it a little further. One of the issues that I speak on is the expanding of that African American narrative. Is that you don't get to speak in your native tongue, you don't get to speak in your native tongue, I don't get to speak in my native tongue. It doesn't make a difference. We're all people of African descent.
That's right.
And so we need to understand that. And then we also need to understand that the languages that we speak are imposed languages. And that the language is not the beginning and ending to our definition.
Exactly.
So there is that. That are we included in the African American history as people of African descent from Latin America and the continent? We ourselves don't see ourselves.
We don't see that, but if we do, that makes us the largest population.
Oh, absolutely. If Latinos who were self-identified Afro-Latinos, so Afro-descendant Latinos, the Afro-American, African numbers would still be bigger because we would know how to self-identify our race. But we don't have the amount of trainings that I do and Rhoda does, and we meet Latinos who walk across the room if you're of African descent. I don't know. And then you have to be like, well, where do you think? Okay, so you may not know the history, but where do you think you got the color from? Let me break it down.
But to expand on that, Yvette, they don't know because in our culture, our countries, it isn't taught.
No.
We're just there.
At all.
And where do we come from? I don't know. So it just goes on and on. They don't know.
They don't know, but I think it's a plus. You know what I think is a plus? When I was in 4th or 5th grade, a long time back in the day, a Spanish-speaking person didn't get respect.
That's right.
Guess what? They had to make Spanish a second language, right? Number one. Number two is the other side think that they're depriving that Black man or the African man from whatever. They don't know that the other countries are growing. The lighting culture is growing.
Oh, yes.
And guess where that culture came from?
Hey.
You know what I mean? So it's like
you could care less a little bit more. See that?
So you might think that you're winning the water hand, but guess what?
That would be some powerful.
Yes.
You don't understand.
We don't understand that.
I mean, literally yesterday I was meeting with the students at UMass to plan the event that we're doing next week. And one of the young Latino students on the lighter side seems to be struggling with his racial identity. Said, well, sometimes I do believe, I work in a store and it is kind of true that blacks steal more. And the professor there, and I literally was like, oh, but he's walking with light skin privilege.
Yes.
Because even though he's a person of African descent and clearly Latino and whatever, he's lighter, so there comes a level of privilege that comes with that. So then he literally already has done this, I'm not one of you.
Yeah. But see, there is a brainwash also going on with people that migrate, people of color that migrate here to the United States. They hear all the horror stories that black people have done. And I've always said to them, have you read Black history? I always think that if it wasn't for the African American, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Because that would be let in the gates.
Exactly.
And then the thing is that's that piece, but then when you think of the Dominican Haitian conflict and the minimizing, dismissing, just lack of respect for Haitian people, and you think they were the first, start a revolution.
That's right. They're the oldest
and people forget. They have no.
This is a people that began this story in this whole
because we don't tell our story.
When I meet Haitian students when I do training and they're like this, and I'm like, no, you need to pick your head up and you need to let people know. And all of us standing here because you started something.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody needs to stand their head up because if that black individual didn't go through the civil rights and all these things, Asians and everybody else who have this opportunity, they won't be there. But we don't do a good job selling that. We need to promote that. And I also did a story about this kid that you're talking about. Maybe we need to be a little bit harsh with this, saying this. Do you know why your color is light skin? Do you know that back in the day, there was a Portuguese or a Spaniard who had brought African woman here, late at night, put them right in the bedroom, and he didn't like that during the day, but at night, he dropped that. That's why the story
got in trouble at school because the teacher was trying to get around telling the story that the slaves masters used to rape our women, and she was trying to find the wording and whatever, and Christian saw the movie 12 Years a Slave, and Christian said, because they raped them. Right. And she thought it was harsh.
That's what I'm saying. We need to
she was like, and Christian was like, because they raped them. And like when I read Isabel Allende's, the fact that they raped us, we had to have children for them. And when they didn't want to deal with their kids, we were their nannies. So we even breastfed their children.
The black woman raised that culture. Period.
One time ago, me and my friend, I have a best friend that is white. We really talk truth to each other about what we see and what we see. And I was telling her, so what is going on with the kids, the white kids now? They're so out of order and so fresh. She said, Rhoda, you don't know? Black women used to raise white boys, white children, and they used to keep them in check. She said, that isn't happening anymore. So it's just chaos.
There you go. That's no way.
I mean, because we were at times more of their primary caretakers than their own parents.
Train them, discipline them, period.
And many of that haven't changed, if the truth be told.
This is deep. There's so much.
We could go on. We could go on. We're going to take a break and then we're going to come back and close the show. But before we go, next Thursday, at UMass Boston's Healy Library at 6 p.m., Rhoda, myself, Hassan is probably going to be working late, so he won't be with us. But Encuentro Diaspora Afro, the organization that we work for with the Center for African and Caribbean and Community Development, the Casa Latina, and the Boston Black Social Workers, will be having an event, Quienes Somos, Who Are We, Afro Descendants, where we're going to show a short film, but then the film will be followed by a discussion on what we're having here, Black identity and the Black experience in the U.S. and abroad. So you can join us there, and if you want more information, that you can visit the Soulful Afro with Yvette Facebook page. But you know, let's take a break and come back. Put a thought in your heads for you to come back with is, how do we close this out in an uplifting, loving way? What's the message we want to close out tonight's show with? Because we've covered a whole lot.
Yes.
A whole lot. And we danced. Can I dance?
Sure.
I'm going to dance because I really like the song. So Hassan has been playing double role, so that's why you're hearing the silent sound. He has to go back to the table and start the stuff, and because he was hanging out.
Having a great discussion. All right, this is Soulful Afro with Miss Yvette's Black History Month special. Keep it locked right here. We'll be right back.
How many people?
We jumped to 21.
All right.
That's just the TV. The radio,
How
I
much?
think the radio is about 250. It's always more on the radio.
Let me shoot you. I'm on the side to get that. I'm on the side. Take some time. Tell me when it's fine. To get that. I'm on the side. That's what's called solidarity. When we show police therapy, after chaos we get clarity. Take some time, tell me when it's fine. ¿Cómo se siente? Good?
Good.
You have your closing quote?
Yeah, I just saw it here a few minutes ago.
How are we doing? 10 seconds. Okay. Till you get back over it. We've had a fun dancing.
All right, welcome back to Soulful Afro with Miss Yvette. Miss Yvette.
Thank you, Hassan. We have had, first, thank you, Rhoda, for coming. When I posted today that you were going to be a guest, I said, listen to the wisdom of this queen, and you sure did that. And, Hassan, once again, thank you for allowing us to have the space to do the show and to put that fire into that theme for this month. I want to close out with the message that we want to leave our people with, the positive message. I have a quote that stood out for me by Josephine Baker. The things we truly love stay with us always, locked in our hearts as long as life remains. And I truly feel that I was raised in a loving Black environment by beautiful Black men and beautiful Black women, and that has been my compass to be able to get up every day with everything that we are having to face on a daily basis. So we'll go to our guest and then we'll go to Hassan and then I'll close out. What are you? What's your?
My quote is by Huey Newton. I think what motivates people is not great hate, but great love for other people. And I think we need to spread the message of love more so. Encourage our young people to see when they take a life, it's more than a life. It's like knocking down a whole tree, all the branches and everything, and knocking down themselves. So if we could just try to do some education about self-love, love for family, love for community, that maybe we'll make some strides in what we need to do to stem the tide of violence against each other.
What about you, Hassan?
Yeah, I mean, she said it. I think knowing the love that we have for ourselves as a people, that's number one. Knowing what we've been through and what we've overcome. And I think there's a point in time where this is going to turn. And in its own way, it has turned because we have done so much and we continue to do so much. As a Black man, for the men out there who are listening, I would say take your place, take your lead. And I truly believe that, honestly, this is me, I believe the leader of a household is a Black woman, but she makes that man lead because she is a good leader.
Yes.
We know that with that woman was stronger, more motivated, and I think that having the love of the Black love. I think, like you said, when we go to an event or a party, you can just leave your kids or your nieces and nephews because they're all taken care of. Like we're love. Black is love. So let's continue to do that.
Here he goes again. Black is love.
It's true. We continue to do that, and I believe, like me, I look at myself as a Taurus in the sense where I'm cool, I'm collective. But if you continue to push me, I will push back. So for every action, there's a reaction. I think we've done a great job ignoring all the nonsense and trying to build ourselves. Let's continue to build ourselves.
That's the thing. I mean, my whole thing is being consciously Black in every move I make does not mean I'm anti-white. It just means I need to uplift and take care of my people. I have white friends. It's not about anti-anything. It's about we need to be pro us a little bit more.
Exactly. And just as I said, just remember that if our people wasn't strong and didn't love each other, we would not be here today.
It's true.
It's no accident that we are here.
It's true.
There is that thing that we do in trainings, and when you call out your name and you say, "I see you."
Yes.
And I see both of you. Thank you so much for joining me. And to the Trayvon Martins and the Jordan Davis, to Christian and Nicolas and all the young men of the His Project, we see you.
Yes.
To all the women, Black men out there, we see you. and we carry you close.
Yes.
It's a heavy weight to carry, but it's absolutely necessary and loving to do.
Yeah.
Because
and we can't give up.
And we can't give up.
Oh, yes.
So thank you for joining us for another uplifting, soulful, powerful, joyful, loving, Soulful Afro with Yvette show, and we shall see you next month. Peace.
Peace and
love.
Then let's not forget the love.
Yes. What's the dog Cornelius? Love, peace, and soul.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. How many do we end with?
18.
What?
18 viewers.
I don't know what March's theme is gonna be. I can't think of anything. If you think of something, I don't know. We've covered so much.
Okay, I'll end the video now. Alright, well, video, I'll say peace, peace, peace sign. Alright.